Have you ever felt like you just see things differently, even when no one else does? Like something inside you just knows that there is another way, a better way, even if you cannot put it into words or explain it just yet? That is the essence of the individual circuit in human design. And that is going to be our topic of the video today. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to HPTV channel. I am Barbara, and I love to talk about all things authentic, human design, gene keys, spiritual, empath, and highly sensitive related. And this is the third video in my new channels series about human design, where I try to explain all the elements of human design in hopefully a way that you can understand. So if you missed the first two videos, go back to my channel and check them out. And this is the first video about the circuits, where I go deeper into the circuits themselves. And today we are talking about the essence of the individual circuit in human design. And this is a deep internal frequency that doesn't follow the crowd, it doesn't wait for permission, and it doesn't try to fit into the expected rhythm of things. What it is the energy of mutation, the kind of change that starts quietly inside one person and then eventually reshapes everything and everyone around them. But living with that frequency isn't always easy. So let's talk today about what it really feels like. And if you already know that you have an individual circuit, then I'd love to hear your experiences in the comments as well. So, what is then the nature of individual energy? Well, individual energy moves differently than any other circuitry. It doesn't flow in a straight line, and it doesn't respond to logic. And it certainly doesn't care about what has always worked. What it does do is it moves in pulses, almost burst-like. And it comes with waves of inspiration and waves of clarity, followed by periods where everything just goes silent. And if you carry a lot of individual definition, then you probably know exactly what I mean. One day you feel electric, inspired, alive, full of vision. And then the next day, everything feels flat and empty, like the spark just disappeared overnight. But that is normal for you. Nothing is wrong when this happens. This is the rhythm of the individual circuit. And the individual circuit teaches you to honor the moments of ignition and the moments of stillness as well, because without making either one mean anything, they don't say anything about your worth. They're just two sides of the same medallion, the yin and the yang, and they belong together. So now let's talk a little bit about the gift and the struggle of the individual circuit. Because here is the truth that most people with individual energy never hear. You are not meant to fit in. You are not here to fit in. You are here to alter the frequency of the world. But the shadow side of that is feeling misunderstood, or alone, or too much, or not enough. Especially when your inspiration shuts off and people think that you've lost your spark. But the thing about mutation is, it rarely makes sense at the beginning. It often looks chaotic, messy, unstable, until suddenly it doesn't. Suddenly, the piece drops into place. Or suddenly the idea becomes form. Suddenly people start to understand what you've been seeing all along. So that means that your genius is often invisible to other people, right up until the moment that they finally see it. And that moment is not something that you can force. It is something that you need to allow. So with this comes the emotional experience of being different. I already mentioned it a little bit. Individual circuitry comes with a very specific emotional imprint. The subtle sense of, I don't belong here. And that's not because you are broken or because you're unlovable. No, That is because your frequency isn't meant to blend. It isn't meant to stand apart. You are the spark that enters the room and shifts something without even trying. You are the person who sees possibilities that don't even exist yet. You are the one who feels called to break old patterns, not out of rebellion, because the old pattern literally doesn't make sense to your system anymore. But this is something that can feel really isolating, and it can feel like no one gets you, like you're walking ahead of the group and you can't go back even if you wanted to. But that isolation transforms when you recognize that you are not here to be understood first. You are here to be understood later. So you first need to do your brilliance, regardless of what anybody thinks about it. And then later you'll recognize, oh my God, she was brilliant. Later you're understood. That is the destiny of the individual frequency. So how do you then work with that mutation energy? Because living with a lot of individual circuitry requires a very different strategy. It means that you don't push, you definitely don't force creativity, and you sure as hell don't chase clarity. No, none of those. Instead, you listen. You wait for the pulse, wait for the inspiration. You trust the silence. Because when the spark returns, and it always does, don't worry, you don't have to do anything to make it return. It comes back by itself, kind of like a boomerang. And then when it does, it brings something that wasn't there before. So the most important thing that you can do is to give yourself permission to follow your own timing. Not the timing of society, not the timing of other people, and definitely not the timing of your mind. Your energy knows when it's ready to mutate. And your job is to stay open enough to let it happen. So if you've ever felt like the odd one out, or the visionary, the rebel, the black sheep, the spiritual goat, the disruptor, or the person whose ideas don't land until months or years later, then you are probably carrying a lot of individual circuitry. And the more that you embrace that, instead of trying to dilute it or ignore it, the more powerful you become. I hope that this was valuable to you, and I hope that you learned something about yourself by listening to my talking here about this topic today. And if you want to go deeper into your design, or if you want to know more about yourself, then I am going to mention a couple of options for that. Lastly, in today's video, I want to share with you some truths that I've learned. So don't hesitate to book that call with me. In the next video, we're going to move into the collective circuit that I talked about in last week's video, and what it means to learn, reflect, and evolve through patterns and experiences. It's a very different frequency from this one, and understanding all these circuits, all three circuits, is what's going to help you see your full energetic landscape. And like I said, if you want to explore your circuitry, your channels, and your purpose more deeply, then you can get your BU by Design blueprint through the links below. If you want to connect with like-minded people on a similar journey where you can learn, share, and support with each other, then you might want to join my solutions community. And if you don't really know what you want, but you resonate with what I'm saying, or you know for sure that you want to work with me one-on-one, then book a free clarity call with me and let's talk. If any of this resonated with you, then hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss the next part of this series. For today, I'd love to hear your experiences and if something in this video was recognizable to you and how you dealt with it. I'd love to hear from you. I respond to every single one of you. And for today, I wish you an amazing rest of your day. And I look forward to inspiring you in the next video in this series. Bye for now.